everyone. This is Mike from Cincinnati. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. We're in week 2. And now that we have a few voices under our belt, remember in week 1, we took the time to learn major 9 voicings, minor 9 voicings. And if you've done your homework, you've taken that around all the keys. And I think I mentioned this in the regular video that a part of this intermediate phase is just doing push-ups. Just sitting and playing until it becomes just like automatic. And that takes time, and that takes some dedication. That's the woodshed, etc. So we're going to take this a little bit further. And now that we've got a few voices under our belt, we're going to start sticking some things together. And remember, chords come from scales. Scale degrees make up chords. You put chords together, that makes progressions, and then progressions make up songs. So there is a track that we're on, that we're going to get to these songs. In this supplemental video, I want to do just a couple things, and then we'll apply it to a few songs as they come to our mind. First of all, let's figure out the one chord in every key. Let's start to take our ear and say, that just sounds like home. That sounds like mama. Well, at least it's my mama. My mom was home. Maybe it's your daddy. I'm not sure. Whatever you want to label it, no matter where you go, you know when you came home. You know when you get home. It just has a sound. It has a resolution. It has that feel to it. Maybe we do it in another key. You know when you get home. You know when whatever key you're in. So the first thing I want you to do is doodle around in different keys. Take E flat, for example. And then come home. There's a sensation about home. There's a feeling about home. One of the first things you want to do as you're training your ear is to figure out where home is. What I used to do back in the day, before we had all this technology, because I'm an old guy, I used to put on CDs or records or listen to music on the internet, and I would see how fast I could figure out what key it's in. Maybe I didn't know the chords, but I can tell you, I keep doodling around. I wanted to get good at finding out the key of the song. Now in jazz and gospel, make sure you pick the right song, because sometimes the key changes and sometimes they're all over the place, you know. So I don't know if you're playing something like Autumn Leaves. Okay, so you hear that and you say, what key is that in? And so you keep listening until you can find home. And this requires a little bit of pressing your ear to it until you can figure it out. And don't get discouraged with that, because ear cultivation is like language cultivation. It takes time. So don't press until you get frustrated, but press enough until you're concentrating, if that makes any sense. All right. Now, the first thing I want to do is once we found home, I want to find Uncle Joe, the 4 chord. You're probably going to call it something else. So we're going to work on 1 to 4 and figure out what that sounds like. First of all, we'll be able to play it. And see these money chords that we talked about way back in week 1? That wasn't that long ago. I could have played it here. 1, 4. If a song pops in your head, then sing it. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. By giving you all I got. I think that's how I go. Your love has captured me. All right, so that's a 1-4 progression. Now let's take the right hand away and listen to that bass. Boom, 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 boom. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4. Let's see if I can sing the bass while I'm playing it. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, 1, 1, 1, 4. Play the bass a little bit louder. 1. Now this is what trips people up in ear training because they're so busy listening to all this stuff up here that they can't hear the bass line. 1. Now I'm going to sing it before I play it. 4. That helps your ear. Let's go to a different key. Now I'm in D flat. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Can you sing the 4? I've already shown you some voices to put on the 4 chord. That's a G flat major 9. And here's a voice to put on the 1 chord. But don't listen to that. Listen to this. 1, 1, 1, 1, 4. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. Okay, so I know you're getting tired of my singing. So what I want you to do is play 1, 4, 1, 4 in every key. Now you notice on my screen here, I found on the internet, I just captured it, a circle of fourths. I prefer fourths over fifths, although it's the same thing, because I like moving in clockwise direction. You notice that if I'm in C, look at C up there on the circle on my picture there. C is at 12 o'clock. The 4 chord is always to its right. So F. Let's say you're in the key of F. Where's the 4 chord? It's going to be B flat. Let's say you're in in the key of B flat. Where's the 4 chord? E flat. Let's say if you're in the key of E flat. Okay, where's the 4 chord? Well, that would be A flat. And then slap those voicings on there that I told you about. So you should be able to go from 1 to 4 in any key you want. And don't skip keys. Don't just, I know we love those flat keys, but don't skip A and E and G. And so let's find a voicing, say, for G. So where would the 4 chord be? Well, that would be C. Okay? So the circle makes it easy. Once you memorize the circle, songs tend to move in, that I know of. I'm acting like I know everything, but that I know of, songs tend to move in about 3 ways. One, they're going to move in a 1-4-5 kind of way. And those are bluesy kind of songs. Those are, I guess is what we call old school. Songs also move scale-wise. Let's say I'm in the key of C. 1, that's a 2 chord. Here's a 3 chord. You see how the chords are moving right up the scale. Lots of songs do that. Let me give you an example. Let me see. I was on the 1, and I go to 2, and I go to 3, and I go to 4, back to 3, a little diminished chord. How that goes. And then off the song goes. But that key was in the key of D flat, and a lot of that song was moving scale-wise. It just moves up and back down the scale. So eventually you'll be able to hear that. Especially when you're trying to learn songs or transcribe songs off the record or radio or whatever, you'll say, oh, scale song. But many songs move by the circle. And then there are combinations, so it'll move scale-wise for a while. And then, well, let's take that song I was just playing. So that's a 1 going to a 6. A 1 chord, you recognize home? Just walks down the scale. Now I'm on a 5 chord. 5 chords. 5 chord is like daddy to me. It's like daddy. When daddy shows up, everybody pays attention. 5 chords have a sound too, and we're going to get to that before I end this video, because what I want us to do and accomplish here is to practice 1 to 4 movements in every key, and then 1 to 5 movements in every key, and then be able to hear that. And that's probably enough for a week's worth of work. I mentioned, look at the circle again. I mentioned if you look to the right, you're going to find the 4 chord of any key. So if you're on C, on the 4 chord, go to the right. You're gonna end up with a 4 chord. If you look to the left, you're going to end up with a 5 chord. So missing we worked on in the earlier video. That's a G9. No, there it is. So that's just nothing more than a B minor 7 flat 5 over G. Review. So you invert that, you're going to end up with this. Somebody sent me a message that says, hold your chords. I'm trying to write that down, okay? But I think what I'm trying to do is get you to understand rather than just copy, because I think that'll take you a lot further. All right, so on the circle, number one, I can't advise you more strongly to just memorize that circle. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, C. Just say it over until you just have that memorized, because that's going to pay dividends for the rest of your musical life. Because many songs, the chord progression is moving in fourths, or some portion of that circle. Back to our movement, C, F. If I'm in F, the 4 chord is B flat. So I'm playing a song along, I don't know, I've got some kind of B flat chord, let's say. And I'm saying to myself, that's home. Let me digress just for one more minute. If you don't know all 12 of your major scales, that's another one to take the time to do that. Start on any key. You're going to go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That's how you find any major scale. Let's do another one. And I didn't mention this earlier because beginners usually learn this, but I'll just touch on it real fast here. I don't pick a key. A. So we start with whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That's the formula for finding any major key. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If you don't know that, write it down and then if you don't know your major scales, we're in serious trouble. Okay, the next thing to do is put numbers to that scale. So in the key of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. D flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Any key, put numbers to it. And then make yourself up a little chart that says here's the note names and here's the associated scale degrees or numbers. Some people call it the Nashville number system. Lots of names out there, but your ear needs those numbers to file. That's a 1 chord. That's home. That's a 4 chord. In the key of E flat, that's a 1 chord, and this is a 4 chord. Same song. Let's see. The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. I think that's the key they recorded it in. As a matter of fact, it sounds like it to my ear anyway. It's just 1 to 4. So what I'd like for you to do is play 1-4 progressions, because even though the key changed, it still sounds like a 1 to 4 progression, just in a different key. So don't let key changes fool you. Let's go to A flat. Okay, what's the 4 of A flat? Well, it's D flat. It still has that home to Uncle Joe feel, or Aunt Susie, or however you want to do it. I'll save Daddy for the 5 chord. That's me. That's me talking. Because when Daddy shows up, you know Daddy's in the house. All right. So that you got your homework. 1 to 4. 1 to 4. So the circle makes it easy to find the 4, and the voicings that I gave to you makes it easy for you to execute it. While you're executing it, your ears can hear it. Now, let's go back to the key of C. This time we want a 5 chord. That does not sound like a 1 to 4 progression, does it? The 5 chord is Mac Daddy. I mean, 5 chord has tension in it. It wants to, if you got up from the piano after playing this, somebody's going to be mad. You can't, it wants to go somewhere. And usually 5 chords wants to go home. Not always, but usually. 5 chord to the 1. Swing low. So, if those of you who have buddies, okay, somebody close their eyes, and if I played here this 1 chord, what does that sound like? I know you can see it. Don't look at your screen right now. I know you're looking. No, just kidding. That sounds like 1 to 4. How about this? What does that sound like? That didn't sound like 1 to 4. That's 1 to 5. There's a pulling sound to the 5 chord. There's an unresolved sound to it. It wants to go home. Daddy wants mama. I'm just having fun here. Okay, so here's mama, here's home. And it doesn't matter what voice you use, I want you to hear this bass line. Okay, so that sounds like Uncle Joe or sister or however you file it. Can you hear that 5? Now, where do you find the 5? Find the key you're in, and then go 1 click to your left. So if I'm in C, then if I want a 5 chord, I need this G. So there are a couple things to do with this information. 1, play it. Play it, say it, play it, say it, play it. First say C, F, and then say 1, 4. Then say C, G, and then say 1, 5. Listen very carefully to the difference in how that sounds, and now apply it to music. Let's see. Oh, I just messed that up. Well, let's do that again. Okay, that was a feeble attempt at the first phrase of Amazing Grace. Okay, so let's listen to that. Now that I got it figured out. I was trying to do that off the top of my head, and I probably shouldn't do that. Does that sound like home? Yes. Does that still sound like home? Yes. What does that sound like? See, so the 4 chord has a to my ear, mellower sounding. It has a it's not, doesn't sound like home mellow, but it sounds pretty mellow. Okay? It definitely sounds like home. Now, we won't talk about this chord because we'll get to this next week. That's a 6 chord. This is the chord I want to talk about. Okay, so that chord is a 5 chord. It sounds like a 5 chord. 5 chords typically. There's a 1 chord. So find a hymn book or a fake sheet or let's take it off gospel, put it on. Maybe let's play some jazz. Okay, so that's Misty. There's a 1. We'll talk about these chords I'm playing probably in a week or so. But here's the chord. You hear that 4 chord? So that's a 1 to a 4. I happen to be playing the melody, but I don't know if you're singing. If your singer knows the melody, you leave the melody alone. Look at me. That's what I'm trying to get you to recognize. That 4 chord. Let's see. Let's go back to C again. What chords did you hear? Well, you got the virtual keyboard. You can cheat if you want to. So I did Happy Birthday. There's a 1 chord. What chord is this? Don't look at your screen. Alright, you let your ear cultivate that. And after a while it'll click in. It'll click in. So your homework in this supplementary. I gave you homework. Did I give you homework in the first one? I think I let you slide. 1, 4. Every key. 1. Every key. Just go around a circle or go chromatically. Either way. And then do 1, 5. Compare the difference. After a while, you can stay in the same key. Well, here's 1, 4. And here's 1, 5. Some kind of 5. I mean, after a while, it says, oh man, they sound so different. You'll be able to label it. So ear training is nothing magical to it. It's like if what you're trying to do is organize your thoughts and put. I mean, how far would you get if you just opened up a file cabinet and just threw all the papers in there? No, you got to put them in those little manila things and get them organized somewhere. Then you put them in the file cabinet. Because once you get them organized, and this is what the number system does, now you can access them. When you open up your file cabinet and all you see is a bunch of paper in there, you can't make any sense out of that. But if you put them in a certain way, now you can get them back out. in that same way. So we're putting them in as a 1 chord, and we're putting this in as a 5 chord. So we keep saying that until our brain associates that sound with a 5 chord. I don't care what key it's in. That sounds like a 5 chord. That sounds like a 5 chord. It sounds wants to go somewhere. That sounds like home. So 1, 4, and 5. Sit, and play. First, it'll reinforce these voicings that we're learning, but now we're working on our ear recognition. Okay, I just played a little run. Now, if you just play a chord, you don't know. You don't know. Could be the 4 chord, could be the 1 chord. I don't know. I have to have a place of reference. If I'm going to call this the 1 chord, now relative to that is its 4 chord. Because this 4 chord could be a 1 chord. So if you play a chord in isolation, you don't know. Could be a 1. Now, except for 5 chords, you know there are 5 chords. They just sound like 5 chords. But since both 1 chords and 4 chords are major, here's a F chord. Well, don't try to say that's the 4 chord. Only in the key of C, that's the 4 chord. But in the key of F, that's the 1 chord. But it has that major 9 sound as opposed to a minor. We'll get to that next week. So keep working on both your majors and your minors to hear the difference in the sound. But don't get tripped up by saying F is a 4 chord. In the key of C it is. But in the key of F, B flat is the 4 chord. All right. Okay, that was about a 30-minute supplement. I hope that made a lot of sense to you, and it gives you structured practice. I want you to all be blessed, and stay tuned. We'll have some more for you next Tuesday. Take care. Bye.